Hello and welcome to another episode of Crypto Time. My name's James Coughlin and I'm joined today with Stephen Arifeo, an unfamiliar face to this show, I would say.
Yeah, quite. It's been a while since I've been on, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing we will do is be covering a hot topic as always, which will be around Donald Trump this week. He's been mentioning quite a lot around Bitcoin. He's made a little bit of an unfavorable tweet in the crypto land, as it were. So I think we're going to delve into that subject today and just run through exactly what our opinions are. So without further ado, we will kick straight into this episode, but one thing I must say first is please do not accept this as investment advice. Always do your own due diligence before getting involved in any new investments, and the opinions you're about to hear are just myself and Stephen's. So yeah, I think this is a good opportunity to really just reintroduce yourself to start with, mate. What you're doing at Bitstocks at the moment, what your role is here, just to refresh people's memories.
Sure. So I joined Bitstocks quite some time ago, approximately 2 years ago. And as everyone at the firm knows, you wear many hats. So I sort of worked my way through, a bunch of different desks and divisions here. But I'm an investment associate at the minute. So my day-to-day consists of working on the private equity model, helping us get FCA regulated and actually making investments.
I imagine that must be quite a few different hurdles, which we will touch on, I think, in another episode. But yeah, let's tuck straight into Donald Trump and what he's had to say. So his tweet has been interesting for quite a few different reasons. There's a lot of kind of shunning of Bitcoin itself. And I think it's kind of an interesting one as to why he would go about doing that. Now, first thing that comes to mind in relation to me is about Libra. Now, Libra has created a massive wave within the kind of crypto and financial space at the moment and across the world, to be quite honest, because of what they're trying to achieve and what they're trying to do with their project. Not personally something I'm a fan of, which I made clear in the last episode where we covered Libra. And I know that you're very much in the same sort of mindset as mine. So I think really what we'll do is, as I said, kick into the actual tweet that he's made. Please excuse the phone, but that's what we're operating off today. So he said, not a fan of highly volatile cryptocurrencies based on thin air that facilitate unlawful behavior. So firstly, not a fan, facilitates, unlawful behavior, all this kind of stuff, as we know, is absolute load of rubbish. The reason why it's rubbish is because blockchain technology operates in a way that you have full view over everything that's happening throughout. Now, what I don't understand is exactly why Trump has pushed it in this kind of way. I think it's fair to assume that he would be a little bit nervous because, the US dollar is a little bit, I'm not saying under threat, but there's a lot of things that people are unhappy about, the way that the US government deal with things, the way that US currency is printed, the way that it works, and what basically it stands for at the moment and how it's devaluing year upon year. That's something that people are concerned at, and I'm sure you'd agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the main sort of concern is capital flight. Now, we even see that with traditional fiat currencies. You're not allowed to, send X amount of dollars out of China. And that's simply so they can preserve wealth within their country. And it's understandable. And we're seeing the exact same thing with cryptos. One thing I would say that I massively disagree with him is the volatile assets part. Absolutely. I mean, when something is still in its infancy, it is volatile. But as new entrants actually enter the market and we get more institutions coming in, individual conglomerates or monopolies, oligopolies start to become less redundant. And so that is how you sort of see the paradigm shift of volatile assets becoming less and less volatile and more stable.
No, I completely agree. And I think that is something that the world has to wake up to, is the fact that, yes, crypto has made a massive stamp on society and it's made a massive stamp within news and media. You must have been pretty much under a rock if you've heard nothing about cryptocurrencies up until this point. But I think that there are some real kind of great points around cryptocurrencies, which actually clean up a lot of the issues that we have within, fiat systems that currently exist. So I think it's very real to the fact that people like Donald Trump are not particularly going to be just open-armed. Let's just replace a US dollar with this cryptocurrency that's kind of like decentralized and there's not really one entity that fully controls it. I think they're the things they get nervous by.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were having the discussion and, some members of the sort of investment desk were saying, it sort of puts Bitcoin in a negative light, whereas, individuals like yourself and me could sort of see both parts of it, where we actually discussed it can actually be deemed in a positive light.
Good or bad news, I don't care. As long as they're talking about Bitcoin and they're talking about it every day, it's just getting in more and more people's, view. And I think the one thing that, I find a bit crazy, I've been involved in this space since around 2016. Bitcoin's been around a lot longer than that. Bitcoin's been around for over 10 years now. And I think if you'd gone back to the people that were very much involved in the project at the very start, and if you'd said to them, would Donald Trump be tweeting about this in 10 years' time? Would the president, arguably one of the most powerful people on the planet, be actually talking about Bitcoin? I think people would have been very, very surprised. And I don't think they would have thought that would have been a possibility. However, we even saw it over the last 12 to 18 months, people sort of saying that, this is the end for crypto throughout this bear market. There's many different issues that don't make sense. It's too volatile. It's not a store of value. It's not this. It's not that. However, time and time again, crypto kicks back and it proves itself to be able to do exactly what it says on the tin. And that is something that the US dollar, the GBP, the euro, and many other different currencies out there cannot say one iota of having the same kind of qualities about it. That is for 100%.
It's exactly that. And, a lot of people sort of say, okay, we're still we've just finished our first decade of Bitcoin's existence and we haven't really achieved much. Well, if we actually think about what we have achieved, we've achieved a lot. I mean, to go from absolutely nothing, when I first entered the space, there wasn't any politician speaking of it. There was pretty much no central banks even taking it seriously.
Take the G20 meetings that we've discussed many times before. This is where global leaders meet together to discuss policies that are going to be happening and what's going to be happening across the board. It was only I think 2 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. And correct me if I'm wrong, people, not a problem to do so. That they were saying that they were unhappy with the way that cryptocurrencies were operating, but actually they didn't think they were a big enough entity to even discuss and just pushed it to the side. Well, now you've got Donald Trump talking about it, so that was a bit of a mistake in my opinion.
Yeah, and it brings back that whole sort of thing with the recession, almost too big to fail. I mean, we've sort of got the attention of the masses now. It's just going to gain more and more traction. Trump's actually listed it in the 2020 elections as a cause for concern area, where they really want to address the issues with cryptocurrencies. We're seeing the FCA actually hone in and actually say certain crypto products like derivatives are sort of bad. Like, all of this attention around the space is phenomenal.
Cause for concern makes me laugh, because if you took, for example, the US elections and you put them into or use blockchain technology, use BSV, and use a utility through it to actually run an election, you would have a pure result. The reason why these people don't want that is because it's not going to give the actual result that they may want out of it. We have to be real to the fact that there are actors out there that push these puppeteers in front of them to do what they're doing. It's not always the person who's in front of us, which is the person that's making the decision. And I think this is something that's very real.
Yeah, it's almost laughable. I mean, the US are now trying to, issue a new bill which says large tech companies can actually, aren't capable of actually issuing their own cryptocurrencies. Yep. It's just, you're trying to marginalize a sector, and that can be seen in a good way. It can be seen as, it can work out bad for America. You could see these big tech companies migrate overseas because of this. It also can work out in its favor, because it could then force tech companies to actually look at current cryptos, see which is the most scalable, and perhaps operate on them.
Yeah, I think the thing that I find a little bit scary about it, and if you're interested, guys, there's an episode on Libra around this, but it's the way that you're in essence giving up a lot of control to these people. We've seen it time and time again with Facebook specifically, where they actually have not acted in the best way with our data. Now we're saying to them, okay, let's entrust you not only with, for example, our social media data, the way that we're marketed to and all the rest of it, but we're now going to give you onus over our finances. Now, I know it's not quite as clear cut as saying, for example, Facebook are the only ones, because there's going to be up to around 100 governance individuals or companies involved in this. Yeah. So it's not quite as clear cut as that, but the thing that I feel right now is the fact that these large companies and large entities are trying to get into this space because they realize now that this technology is unstoppable. This technology does change the world for the better, and they want to be a part of it. However, a lot of the real advocates from this space, such as myself, you, people at Bitstocks, people across the board, are saying, do you know what? We don't care for you big companies anymore. We don't want these large institutions having every bit of our data so they can use it against us in some sort of way to make us purchase something or do something. I want to work with a product that is by the people, for the people, that works properly and it's decentralized. Not some sort of nefarious mechanism for me to go and purchase what I want with it. I'm saying I want a fair system which has transparency. There's a big difference. And the fact that Donald Trump alluded to the fact that actually that this was some sort of way of being able to use as a nefarious mechanism to purchase things like drugs or whatever it may be, firearms that are out there, I find ridiculous, because it is the most transparent form of payment method that is out there by far at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I do agree with Trump was with regards to his whole tweet. He actually said if Facebook almost want to launch this e-money type product, they have to go down the necessary routes. Now, whether that's an e-money license or a banking license, these things need to be adhered to in order to make sure your AML KYC is being done correctly, in order to make sure that you're, safeguarding individuals appropriately, because that is really what is going to give us scope to actually go and expand in a fully compliant, safe manner where people feel comfortable to do so.
Yeah, and I think that is what his main objective is that he just wants things to be safe and transparent. And I think this is why if he sat down with certain individuals within the cryptocurrency sphere, and I'm sure that he has enough advisors around him which can give him a comprehensive breakdown of what cryptocurrencies can do for society and how they can work going forward, that would change his mind. But only time is going to tell that, and I'm sure that we're going to see more tweets around this going forward, and I hope there are, because this just highlights exactly where we are again and again. So I think that's a really nice opportunity to wrap up this episode. I really do appreciate having you on to kind of hash out this whole Donald Trump situation that's been going on, and I'm sure we'll see a little bit more with you over the future in relation to CryptoTime. So yeah, guys, thank you as always for watching. Please hit the notification button if you like what you're seeing. Same as subscribe, same as anything along our content. If you like what you're seeing, please let us know by commenting. And also, we have a fantastic bit of blog content which is coming out through the Bitstocks website at the moment. We would encourage all of you to go across and look. So again, thank you so much. See you later, guys.
Take care.